Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here today on episode 2353 of the Cabral Concept. We're going to be going through our Cabral house calls this weekend, as always, answering our community's questions. We've got 6 questions lined up for us today. I can't wait. I'm sure they are absolutely fantastic. I know that there's a lot of people out there looking for answers to their wellness, their weight, their aging-based issues, and we're going to do our best today to help those people. So I love always being able to share my insights from simply doing this for now, well, I'd say close to 3 decades, almost not quite 30 years, but it's been some time. We've seen hundreds of thousands of people in our practice, and it's my job simply to share not only what the science says, but what I've seen work in the real world as well. So that's what we do. I don't do any prep work for these questions. I simply open up the document that the team sends over each and every week. I have such an amazing team. They make all of this happen. And again, I'm thankful for you. I'm thank you for you tuning into the show, leaving reviews, and just supporting the overall mission that we're on, which for IHP is to put a health coach in every home. That's the truth. And then for Equilife, it's to be able to develop and implement the protocols that actually work for real people looking to get results based on science as well. All right, so that's that. Let's dive into the questions. First question today is from Anonymous. Anonymous says, thanks so much for your for taking questions on your show. I love hearing other people's get their answers and learning while I listen. I heard on a previous show that fine lines or wrinkles around the mouth area is not a result of aging, but from other causes. I'm only 47, and I've recently, within the last 2 years, noticed a significant increase in vertical lines around both my upper and lower lips. Is this from nutrient deficiencies or something else? I did the Big 5 labs. I've been working with an Equilife IHP, and I've been using your products now for 8 months. I was hoping the increased nutrition plus protocols I've completed, the detox, CBO, parasite, and heavy metals would have helped the lines, but they get more noticeable. Is there any way to get these to go away, or can I only hope to keep them from getting worse? Thank you so much for your help. All right, so happy to help with this answer. As we age, we start to lose elasticity in our skin. We also don't produce as much collagen. We also start to become a little bit dehydrated in these facial tissues as well. We don't look as plump, right? So what happens is the skin begins to look indented or a little saggy, or can even have fine lines. When we see fine lines around the mouth, we are typically thinking the person is in more of a catabolic state. We see this far more often with a Vata body type than we do a Kapha body type. So Anonymous, my thought process around this, which is typically the case, someone has lost too much weight. They are exercising too much. They are overdoing it too much. They are not eating enough carbohydrates. Their body is depleted and their face is showing it. So, and again, you can even see it like to a small degree whenever a fitness competitor or a bodybuilder diets down for a show, their face looks more sunken in. Now, again, I know you're talking about the fine lines and I know exactly what you're talking about. What I would say is this, is you've done most of the protocols, which is great. So now just make sure you're doing a smoothie a day with the daily nutritional support, and you're adding some of the daily fruit and vegetable blend if you choose, but definitely add in the immunity protocol, which is your zinc, your vitamin C, your vitamin D. You need that for skin turnover. Then you'll probably want to add in advanced collagen support. No doubt about it, I would add that. And then just make sure you're getting enough protein, so about minimum half your body weight in actual grams per day. If you weigh 140 pounds, get in 70 grams of protein per day. Make sure you're not too catabolic, okay? Then make sure you get enough total calories and that you're not continuing to lose more weight, which can make the face more sunken in. There's less flesh, there's less plumpness to the face, all right? So try that first, and then let us know. All right. That's worked wonders for many, many people. All right. Wendy's up next. And then, of course, hydrate your face. I'm always trying to get more. I know the question's over, but I'm always trying to add more and more. Make sure you're not dehydrated. Really, really important. Get enough electrolytes, etc. All right, Wendy's up. Hi, Dr. Stephen Cabral. Can I ask if EMS training is beneficial for weight loss, especially for people over 45 years old? Doing lots of high-intensity activities may be not suitable for people age 45 and above. Yeah, I've actually chatted about this a number of times. I'm trying to see if I can find it on the podcast. I always recommend going to stephencabral.com/podcasts and then clicking on the right-hand orange button that says Training Thursday, because you do not want to overdo it if you're more fatigued, exhausted, etc. However, you still have to do resistance-based training. So if you've read my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, definitely look at the workout programs I put in there. It's just the samples, 2 to 3 days a week of strength training, then get in your walking or your cardio elsewhere. But you need to make sure that you're adding load tension to your muscles and bones to not only help with metabolism and muscle tone, but strength, but also osteoporosis. So you can't stop that. You just might not do the same level of volume as maybe when you were younger, but you still need the exercises. So yes, I don't agree. I agree that probably don't maybe need HIIT workouts or boot camps, but look into the Metcon workouts that I talked about on my podcast and check out the workouts that are free inside of the iBone-based app. You'll be able to follow one of those for sure, and then you'll be able to work your way up from beginner to intermediate to advanced if you'd like. In terms of electromuscle stimulation, that's what EMS stands for. There's some level of validity to that. There's no doubt about it. Is it enough to give you the results you're looking for? The answer is no. Those actually give you the best results while in conjunction with some type of strength training, isometric training, etc. So no, it's not going to give you the bone density that you're looking for. It's not going to give you the muscle tone, et cetera, that you're looking for. There's validity to it. I'm not saying there isn't. It can stimulate the muscles. It does stimulate the muscles. But if you're looking to, burn body fat, et cetera, there's no way around it. We need to increase the exercise on the body, but also look at my podcast on hermetic stressors. You don't want to do more than your body can recover from, but you want to do as much as your body can recover from and just a little bit more to make that body just a bit stronger. So definitely check out my podcast on hermetic stressors as well. Metcon workouts. If you can ever not find a podcast by searching it at stephencabral.com/podcast, just go to cabralsupportgroup.com, ask where to find the podcast. The amazing Michelle or Daniel will share with you where to find it. All right. Paloma is up next. Thank you so much and your team for all your hard work every single day. Thank you, Paloma. Appreciate that. I was wondering whether some PMS symptoms are normal or does it always indicate a hormonal imbalance? That's a great question. So I've done many, many podcasts on PMS, hormonal imbalances, PCOS, estrogen dominance, you name it. I've done a lab case study on it. I've done podcasts on it. You can find my hormone podcast by going to stephencabral.com/podcast. Scroll through all the fun-looking images at the top. Click on the one that says hormones. Believe me, you will learn everything that you need to about your hormones. If you ever really want to get deep, though, on rebalancing your hormones, definitely go to stephencabral.com/courses. There's a course on rebalancing female hormones there. There's also one on thyroid. There's one on digestion as well. All right? Definitely check those out. Okay, so is some level of PMS symptoms normal or does it always indicate a hormonal imbalance? It's a great question, and it is degrees of intensity and degrees of symptoms. Meaning like, okay, let's say that during the first few days of your cycle, you're just kind of a little less energy. You're just kind of feeling like your body's building back up. Normal, like not abnormal. You should not affect your daily life, but you feel like there's a slight difference. That's not abnormal because there is. You are low on estrogen and progesterone, and estrogen is beginning to climb. Okay. So do you feel great between days like 5 and let's say 14? And you start to feel better as estrogen's improving? Yeah, you should, right? So do you feel something around ovulation? You may, right? But it shouldn't be major. But there's definitely a change happening during ovulation, right? There's definitely a change happening somewhere between days 13 and 16 or so, we'll say. Okay, then days 19, 20, or 21, do you start to feel a little, maybe some mild bloating or some mild temperature dysregulation, or you get like one pimple, or you feel like you didn't get your best night's sleep, right? Like mild symptoms don't necessarily need to be worked on if they are not greatly affecting your life, right? Like that's how I look at it. We don't need to make as they say, mountain out of a molehill, right? But we do if we see a progressive nature with this. All of a sudden, yeah, you feel pretty lethargic for the first week of your menstrual cycle. Then the last week, you feel tired again. But now you've got real bloating, you've got some acne, you've got some low mood, you've got some irritability. That is when we need to really begin to work on it. But again, don't wait for it to get there. If it's starting to progress, you see a pattern happening over your 2-3 cycles before that, we need to run that stress, mood, and metabolism on days 19, 20, or 21, about 7 days or so before you get your cycle. Really important so that we get to the bottom of it and we start to rebalance the body. All right. Ideally, run the big 5, but if not, run that one lab, which is the stress, mood, and metabolism. All labs can be found at stevencabral.com/labs or with your local integrative health practitioner level 2. Paloma's up next. Again, she says, me again. I once asked you whether you thought cardio was necessary if I got my 10,000 steps every day, plus 4 days a week of resistance training with bands and free weights, and you said it wasn't. I'm a 25-year-old Vata, so I don't like doing a lot of cardio because I lose muscle very easily. You've been speaking a lot about cardio recently, so I'm wondering whether your answer would be different now. I don't have a lot of free time, so implementing some jogging or biking would mean taking out 1 or 2 days of resistance training. All right, so good question, and very rarely do I change my mind. I leave my mind open to all possibilities, but usually it's an add-on, not a change into my mind. And the reason is that, and I was just sharing this, I was on an integrative health practitioner. We do a live call with myself twice a month. And I'm not usually changing my mind. And the reason is that I'm not making stuff up. Like that's the thing. It's like, oh, you see all these carnivore-based people saying, well, I used to only eat meat, but now I eat some fruit. Well, now I also eat some honey. Now I drink some raw. It's crazy, right? Because they're making stuff up. Like that's the thing. It's like they're just creating a marketing plan. Like it's a marketing company. Here's the thing though. If you base your knowledge on 6,000 years of Ayurvedic medicine, 3,000 plus years of traditional Chinese medicine, a couple hundred years of bioregulatory medicine and naturopathy, and then state-of-the-art science and lab testing, you don't have to make things up. You simply don't give recommendations that we don't know enough about yet. So when you asked me, you said you're someone that's already getting 10,000 steps a day, doing weight training 4 times a week, you're a Vata body type, and you lose muscle easily. It's the same answer, right? Because you're someone that's more catabolic. You're someone that loses weight more easily. You don't need to do a lot of cardio. Your 10,000 steps a day is cardio for you. Now, again, my answer wouldn't change. A kapha says to me, I do 10,000 steps a day, resistance training 4 times a week. I can't seem to lose the weight. What should I do? I would replace 1, maybe 2 of those days of resistance training with cardio. This person might be 220 pounds, has plenty of body mass. I'm going to keep the resistance training on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Thursday. I'm going to add in 2 to 3 days of cardio, and I'm going to get better results. That's the bottom line. Now, once they get the results, I might add in other things, but that's the truth. Like I want them, I might even split it, 20 minutes resistance training, 30 minutes cardio. And then I can still get my 3 resistance training in that I want as my minimum, right? So like I can play with it a bit. For you though, no, you're doing great. So my answer hasn't changed. But yes, cardiovascular, there is a huge benefit to it. And I keep talking about it because I just, again, it's important. People are forgetting about it. It's not the best thing for body transformation, but certainly for someone that is looking to balance blood sugar and improve overall, again, heart and lung function, you need to add it in. Really important. All right. Yeah, I could go on and on. I already have before, so I won't talk about telomere length and longevity, etc. All right, Tina's up. Tina says, first off, thank you for all on your team do. I'm 53 years old. I did the big 5, gut and bacteria test, mold test, 12 weeks into my protocol, working with the IHP level 2. I did the 14-day functional medicine detox. I'm 8 weeks into the CBO protocol. Just finished the intestinal cleanse. Did a parasite cleanse and liver flush. My morning cortisol is very low and my evening is very high. Thyroid was a little high. I've been taking supplements to support my hormones, and I've been doing the deep sleep protocol because I was experiencing really bad insomnia. I still continue to wake up at least 4 times a night. I'm very thirsty, wake up startled, wake up starving, and of course, then I have to go to the bathroom because I've been drinking. I've been doing the deep sleep protocol. I've been wearing blue blockers before bed. I recently bought a Leaf device because my HRV is very, very low. On average, my number is 16. I also still have very bad Raynaud's. My fingertips go numb and purple. I also have this scab in my nose that clears up but then comes back quickly. TPO antibodies are 32, which is very, very low. Any suggestions on what I could be doing? Is my rain barrel full? Do I need to keep doing functional medicine detoxes? Could it be Lyme? Thank you. Okay. Got it. I've got the full workup. I feel like I'm good to go. So, since there's sleep issues, you wake up 4 times a night, you've got Raynaud's, you've got a low HRV, there is a chronic stress on your body. All right. So you've done so many great things for the gut. We need to work out, what is this chronic stress? Is it, meaning like emotional-based trauma? Is there something there? Is there autoimmune-based? Is it heavy metal-based? Is it viral-based? Most likely not, right? What else could it be? It could be potentially Lyme. It could be potentially mold. Maybe, but maybe not as well, because you've already done so many great things. After you do your CBO, you're going to do your mold protocol. So you're kind of like 8 weeks into the program. So you're only 2 months in. You still have time to go. But what I'm recommending is more rest. So I know you're tracking a lot of things, which is amazing. Please make sure you track your deep sleep and your REM sleep and listen to my podcast on that. 2 hours of REM sleep or more, 1.5 hours of deep sleep or more. You can use an Oura Ring. You can use any of your other favorite devices. The BioStrap's great. There's a lot of great ones out there. Okay. We need to make sure we're getting enough nutrition, enough sleep, not overdoing exercise, reducing stress. If you haven't read my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, we need to empty that rain barrel, but not just through functional medicine detoxes. You know that I believe in nutritional supplements, but it's only one of my 8 parts. I have a feeling you need to do biofeedback, meditation, binaural beats, retraining that autonomic nervous system to calm whatever the stress pattern is that's going on, and that is where you will ultimately find your results. All right, one more question today from Ryan. Ryan says, "Hey, Doc Cabral, wanted to ask a question regarding Graves' disease versus Hashimoto's. When testing thyroid antibodies, I recently heard Amy Myers say TSH receptor antibodies is more telling of Graves, and thyroid peroxidase and thyroglobulin markers are more telling for Hashimoto's. I wanted your thoughts on this as I am testing these markers every few months in conjunction with near daily red light therapy exposure to thyroid. I did see a reduction in TPO antibodies from about 158 in the last year to 45 this past February. So it's cool to think that it may be lower due to that exposure. I'm a previous Graves patient, but will be looking to get the TSH receptor antibody test next time. Have you seen red light therapy work for these issues? Have you ever noticed any difference in testing those antibody markers for different patients? If TPO is lowering, is that a sign of inflammation as a whole for the thyroid is lowering? Okay, I can answer this for you. Appreciate you writing in. All right, so a couple things first. You got a lot to break down here. First, I have to give you my disclaimer. I haven't done it yet on the podcast, but I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical diagnosis, or medical cures. I'm here to help you get to the underlying root cause. All right, so first of all, I think Amy Myers is great. She's fantastic. So no, anything I say is nowhere in a reflection on her by the slightest. We can just have maybe different opinions, but also I didn't hear what she said. So again, I can't make any judgment on that. So when I look at thyroglobulin antibodies, especially, I look at thyroglobulin as, yes, inflammation of the thyroid, but I actually look at it more from damage. Like there's actually damage done to the thyroid. Now, the reason why I looked at that is because there's good studies showing that whenever there's been treatment to the thyroid or an autoimmune process that's actually damaging the thyroglobulin antibodies will increase. So that's some good science on that. Now, in terms of TPO antibodies, I look at that as more of an autoimmune process. So I look at one more from damage and one more from autoimmune. And what we mainly test for is the autoimmune part of it. And They're both great to test. There's no doubt about it, okay? So then I look at TSH in general. And when I'm looking at TSH, I'm looking at that in conjunction with TPO, free T4, free T3. That's how we run it on something called the stress mood metabolism test. Again, you can find that test, do it right at home at stevencabral.com/labs. So what can I share with you? Well, so I gave you my opinion on what all those markers mean. Now, can red light therapy help? Potentially. And that's because infrared and red light can both help with the healing process. They can help with detoxification, that's well known, and they can help mitochondria, and they can help with circulation. Do I believe that it's the only thing that helped you lower your thyroid TPO antibodies from 158 to 45 in the past 6 months or so, or 4 months? I don't believe that it is. I believe you were probably doing a lot of other things to empty your rain barrel. I believe you were probably doing some type of detox maybe. You're probably using thyroid-based products. You're probably doing sauna. Like you're doing things. I think overall, you're moving in the right direction. And this is what emptying your rain barrel is all about. That's what I write about in the rain barrel effect. It's not one thing. It's never one thing. Red light therapy is not the end-all be-all. It's great. I use red light therapy. I like red light therapy. I support it. But if someone's listening to this and like, oh, all I need to do to lower my antibodies is red light therapy. No, I think it's one part of an equation that's very good. We don't use it with most of our people just because there's an expense to it, but I do think it's great. Okay, so that's my advice. And then the last part is TPO. When basically, I think you said, if you're lowering TPO, does it show less inflammation? And I would say, yeah, I think you're on the right track with that thinking. I do. I at least think that the level of toxicity to the thyroid is going down. And so I think that can be helpful as well. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that shed a little bit of light on it. I'm always happy to do follow-ups. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. I truly do. I'll be back tomorrow answering 6 more of our community's questions. Take care and enjoy your weekend. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.